Do you like being happy? I know that I do, even though I'm not completely certain about what happiness is sometimes, but I certainly catch sight of it, even every once in a while, especially on Sundays. No, really, Sunday is my favorite day of the week, and church is my favorite place to spend it. But let's get back to happiness. I saw that there was a World Happiness Report, and I went looking for it and found it on Wikipedia of all places. Now, there are several different ways of measuring happiness, and I'm not sure that this report is actually the best one, but it might be a good place to start. The issue is, to my mind, fulfillment. Does your life have worth? One of the reasons why Israel is so high on the happiness list is that every person in Israel knows that they are valued very highly. Family, friends, and even the government are directly involved in helping you, if you are an Israeli. Yes, the stress is high, and the trauma of some of what happens in Israel is overwhelming at times. But let me ask you, where you live, does anyone care about you? Is there anyone that you can trust to pull you out if you find yourself in the pit of despair? For Israelis, there's always someone that you can trust, whether it's family or the guys you served with in the IDF or the guys you work with. In America, not so much. What about your church? How many of the people that you go to church with could you trust with your life? If you got into serious trouble and desperately needed help, would they be there for you? Would you be there for them? If someone desperately needed help, would you be there for them? Is there a limit to the help that you would give? You see, this is how far our churches have fallen. We don't love each other anymore. We have limits to how far we're willing to help. Our generosity is tiny. One day soon, everything in your life that you thought was stable will fall, and you will desperately need help. Will there be anyone to help you when that day comes? Will you be ready to help others when their day comes? And is your church the kind of church that would chip in and help when things go bad? When things go bad, your community of friends and family, and especially your church, will be the ones to give you the safety that you need. That will always be the first step in preparation for the difficult days ahead. Then, as I was looking for more stuff on happiness, I ran into this TED Talk by Dr. Robert Wagner from 2 years ago, and it's titled, "What Makes a Good Life? Lessons from the Longest Study on Happiness." Harvard did a huge study on what makes people happy, and they are already 75 years into the study, and the current director of this study presents their findings so far. But let me quote the first couple of his almost 13-minute presentation. Quote, "What keeps us healthy and happy as we go through life? If you were going to invest now in your future best self, where would you put your time and your energy? There was a recent survey of millennials asking them what their most important life goals were, and over 80% said that a major life goal for them was to get rich. And another 50% of those same young adults said that another major life goal was to become famous. And we're constantly told to lean in, to work, to push harder and achieve more. We're given the impression that these are the things that we need to go after in order to have a good life. Pictures of entire lives, of the choices that people make and how those choices work out for them. Those pictures are almost impossible to get. Most of what we know about human life we know from asking people to remember the past, and as we know, hindsight is anything but 20/20. We forget the vast amounts of what happens to us in life, and sometimes memory is downright creative. And I've got a mosquito running around. Excuse me. Hopefully I got it. But what if we could watch entire lives as they unfold through time? What if we could study people from the time that they were teenagers all the way into old age to see what really keeps people happy and healthy? We did that. The Harvard study of adult development may be the longest study of adult life that's ever been done. For 75 years, we've tracked the lives of 724 men year after year, asking about their work, their home lives, their health, and of course asking all along the way without knowing how their life stories were going to turn out." Close quote. And do you know their conclusion? Here, I'll give it to you. It's his last statement in this presentation. Quote, "The good life is built with good relationships. Close quote. How interesting. What was it that Jesus said to us? Quote, "A new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another, as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have love one to another." Close quote. John 13:34-35. How much love do you have for your fellow brother or sister in Christ? Are you telling me the truth? Are you telling yourself the truth? Do you love your brothers and sisters in Christ in the same way that Christ loved us? Do you understand how huge and gigantic that standard of love is? Remember that God knows how much you love your brothers and sisters in Christ, and you can bet that the people around you know how much you love your brothers and sisters in Christ too. They see how you act towards each other, and they will know that you are a true follower of Christ if they see that love. Again, if you want to survive the evil days that are coming, you need to be a community, or need to be in a community that loves each other like Jesus called us to love. Do not expect to survive if you are not in such a community. And you know what? Not only will you survive, but you will find happiness.